We are back with yet another conference preview on the Hoop Scoop Media Conference Preview Series. We have our second to last high major conference out of the five that there are this year, and that is the Big Ten. Definitely going to be an interesting conference from the looks of it. There's going to be a big clump of teams in the middle that we have no idea how it's going to end up. So on this podcast today, we'll try to break it down as good as we can, even though there's still going to be probably some crazy things that happen during the season that we won't expect. But yeah, what's your overall early thoughts in the conference?
I mean, for an 18 team league, I think this is about as even as you can get. I have all 18 inside my top 80, like overall. So I think that just speaks to the volume of how many just solid teams there are in this league. And I don't know. I have a 1 through 18 that I like, but realistically, there's a range of probably 10 spots for each of these teams, if not more.
Hmm.
So
Yes, 18 teams in the conference now, going up from 14 last year. No one departing the conference, but with the implosion of the Pac-12 last year, Washington, Oregon, UCLA, and USC are now Big Ten schools. So the conference, like the ACC, goes from coast to coast. Got the UCLA, USC, Washington, Oregon, all way over there on the West Coast, and then Maryland and Rutgers on the East Coast, and everywhere in between. So a lot of teams in the conference, and yeah. But last year the conference was third in Ken Palm. Purdue kind of took care of the conference. They won the regular season title. They did not win the conference tournament title though. Let's see, did Illinois win it? Yes, Illinois won the conference tournament title. But Purdue was the highest ranked team in Ken Palm. Purdue ended up advancing all the way to the national championship game where they lost there. Illinois, Nebraska, Northwestern, Wisconsin, and Michigan State also tournament representatives for the conference. So yeah, also have some coaching changes as well. Dusty May in at Michigan. Talked about him briefly in our American preview, but yeah, I think this is by all accounts a big upgrade and a good hire for the Wolverines.
yeah, the I guess last year probably wasn't what FAU fans hoped, but realistically, two fantastic years capped by the Final Four run in 2023, and I think there's even room for growth in May as a coach. Still young, and now he has a program with a ton of resources. So I'm excited to see what he can accomplish.
Yes, another coaching change. Ohio State, they hired Jake Diebler, who was an assistant last year that took over the team following Chris Holtman's firing. I still don't really like this hire considering he was like on the bad teams, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts and if your thoughts have changed recently at all.
Yeah, I'm kind of still on the same page. I included a bit um, in my Ohio State notes, but it's just like I don't know. You're Ohio State. You have a big brand. You've got a lot of money, and you probably could have went and got one of these top guys in the carousel this offseason, and you stuck it out with an assistant who was, yeah, like you said, part of the catastrophic finishes in conference play over the last few years. So I don't know. It's something to find out, but I still think in the top half he's probably punching above his weight as a head coach. So
Yes, Danny Sprinkle, another new coach in the league, new team in the league as well in Washington. He's coming over from Utah State after 1 year there and made a tournament twice at Montana State. And yeah, coming over following the firing of Mike Hopkins, and Sprinkle has won where he's at and is continuing to move up the totem pole. So I like this hire as well.
yeah, I like Sprinkle, especially for the long term. I think Washington is a place that you can win. I mean, Mike Hopkins was able to get talent there, but just never really put it together. I don't know about year one. We'll get to that in a little bit, I guess. But yeah, I think overall, definitely a positive outlook for Washington basketball.
Yes, and the final coaching change in the conference is another one of the new teams as Eric Musselman taking the head job at USC following a tenure at Arkansas. Um, mean, I think a lot of people, including myself, don't love the team this year, but still can't really go wrong with the hire considering all the circumstances.
Yeah, a guy that'll bring energy into your program, something I think USC really needed. I mean, Bron and James couldn't even bring up the energy that much, I feel like, surrounding the program. But yeah, it'll be interesting. Like you, I'm kind of questionable on this year's team, but you give Musselman a chance to mix in his guys along with some transfer guys, and I think that's where we saw his Arkansas teams flourish.
Yes. So those were the four coaching changes in the offseason. Now getting into all conference players from last year and where they are now. Zach Edey, National Player of the Year, is off to the NBA. Boo Booey. Northwestern guard exhausts his eligibility. Terrence Shannon Jr. Illinois guard also exhausts his eligibility. Braden Smith is back at Purdue. And Marcus Domask for Illinois exhausts his eligibility. On the second team, Tyson Walker of Michigan State exhausts his eligibility. AJ Storr of Wisconsin transferred to Kansas. Jameer Young of Maryland exhausted his eligibility. Keisei Tominaga of Nebraska also exhausted his eligibility. And Tony Perkins of Iowa transferred to Missouri. On the third team, Peyton Sandfort is back at Iowa. Ace Baldwin Jr. is back at Penn State. Dawson Garcia back at Minnesota. Khalil Ware started his NBA career. Brooks Barnheiser is back at Northwestern. And Rick Mass is out for this season with an injury, but is still at Nebraska to some extent. So yeah, those were all conference teams from last year. Now getting into our projected all conference teams for this upcoming season. And my player of the year was the lone returner on the first team, and that is Braden Smith.
I I wanted to go Braden Smith, but I've got my boy Jackson Shelstead coming into the conference. I'm high on Oregon this year, and yeah, I think he overtakes Braden Smith. Obviously Smith number is going to take a big jump with Edie gone, but I'm all in on Shelstead's sophomore year breakout with Cuisinart not in the picture anymore in that backcourt. I think it's all his, and the ceiling is extremely high.
Yes, I am all in on Shellstead having my first team as well. My defensive player of the year, I went with a newcomer to the conference and Umar Ballo, Indiana big man, just dominant in the post, elite rebounder, really disruptive at the rim.
Yeah, I went with Kobe Johnson of UCLA for my defensive player of the year. Just all around good athlete, good defender. If you keep going with the awards, I'm gonna try to find the tweet. I think it was from John Rothstein where Kobe Johnson just had this crazy box
Yes,
score
I,
output.
I, I do I do think I remember saying that. Um,
I'll pull it up while you.
But yeah, continuing in my freshman year, that is Dylan Harper for Rutgers, a few freshmen in the conference that should really make an impact, including his teammate Ace Bailey. But Harper, I believe he's either second or third ranked prospect in the country. Huge, huge for a program like Rutgers. The younger brother of Ron Harper Jr. has played at Rutgers for a while. But yeah, you got that
Yeah,
stat.
yeah. Kobe Johnson stat line last night. It doesn't have his points, but 11 assists, 5 steals, 6 rebounds. So like, I don't know.
Yes,
That just shows why you provide the 5 steals. Obviously active on the defensive end. So I'm all in on
very.
UCLA and especially Kobe Johnson. And then back on topic, freshman of the year, Dylan Harper, my boy. I think him and Ace Bailey are each other's biggest competition. Yeah, I think it should be an exciting year for Rutgers. So I'm repping the Slam T-shirt today. Ace Bailey, Dylan Harper. So shout out those two. I think Rutgers. I don't know. Other people are probably higher on them than me, but I don't know. Two exciting freshmen. I think there's a lot to get excited about, and I think it's a team that gets into the NCAA tournament.
Yes, at the very least gonna be something to watch, which some Rutgers teams have been pretty hard to watch in the past few years. But yeah, moving into our all conference teams. First team I had Braden Smith, my player of the year, Jackson Shelstad, your player of the year, Dylan Harper, my freshman of the year, and my final two players were Bruce Thornton, Ohio State guard, and Owen Freeman, Iowa big man, going to his sophomore year.
I do respect the Freeman pick. Um, for me, all conference first team: Braden Smith and Jackson Shellstead, Bruce Thornton of Ohio State, Omar Ballo from Indiana, transferred in from Arizona, and my boy Dawson Garcia. Go Gophers.
Yep. On my second team, I have Illinois incoming freshman Kasparis Jakashunas. Should be a name that will pop right away. Really good player. I also have Ace Baldwin, Penn State guard Roddy Gale Jr., incoming Michigan transfer from the conference from Ohio State. I have Ace Bailey, the other Rutgers highly regarded freshman, and Gray Osborne rounding out my second teams following Sprinkle from Utah State to Washington, where he was a Mountain West Player of the Year.
For my second team, I've got Ace Baldwin, Dylan Harper, my freshman of the year, Kobe Johnson, my defensive player of the year, Peyton Sanford at Iowa, and then Gray Osibor from Washington.
So now my third team, I have Miles Rice, incoming Indiana transfer from Washington State. I have Peyton Sanford from Iowa, Brooks Barnheiser for Northwestern, Dawson Garcia for Minnesota, and rounding out my defensive player of the year, Umar Ballo from Indiana.
Third team for me, I've got Jacoby Gillespie, transfer from Belmont in at Maryland, Kasparis Yakushionis,
I believe it's
or
Jakashunas.
Yakashunis.
I think
I,
so.
I will never be able to get it right, but in at Illinois, highly touted Lithuanian prospect.
Yes.
And then Brooks Barnheiser from Northwestern, Malik Renew at Indiana, and Ace Bailey at Rutgers.
Yes. Too many teams in the league that kind of made picking those all conference teams tough. I feel like there's a lot of guys that I kind of wanted to put on, but just due to 18 teams and none of them being bad, I think there were a lot of players left off more than deserving of a selection there. But moving to our all freshman team, another team that is loaded with immediate impact players. Got Kasparis Jakashunas, as I mentioned, for Illinois. Both Rutgers freshmen, Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey. I have Maryland freshman big man Derek Queen, and rounding it out with Illinois big man Tomislav Ivasic, who recently got cleared by the NCAA today. He is good to go this year.
I've got Yakushonis, the Rutgers duo, Harper and Bailey, Derek Queen from Maryland, and then I don't know your thoughts on this one. Jeremy Fears Jr. from Michigan State. I
Is
think he'll be considered a redshirt freshman
is he?
according to the roster page, but I don't know. Kind of a cheat there for me. I feel
You
like
you like to do that.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, if you watch the Big Sky preview, I did the
He
same thing,
he
but
is he is
yeah.
technically a redshirt freshman.
I threw a sixth name though, just in case. I went with LJ Kaysen from Michigan.
He's gonna be good.
Absolutely balled out against Toledo in the exhibition I watched. So instantly put his name up in the spreadsheet, and then
He's gonna be good. I wanted to put him on there, but couldn't really justify over any of the other names, but definitely a steal from Dusty May. But moving to our breakout players, one of them is the guy you just mentioned, in Jeremy Fears Jr. for Michigan State. Is one of the best, probably gonna be one of the best passers in the conference, and Michigan State is gonna need somebody. A lot of people like Fears. Yeah, season was ended shortly into it last year, um, after getting shot, but luckily he is all good for this year.
yeah. So originally I had Fears as my top breakout guy, and then I included him on the all freshman team. I'm like, this is probably a bit of a I don't know a wrongdoing. So I went with his teammate Xavier Booker. Um, hopefully, he's the starting five man this year.
Could be
Showed
starting at a
flashes at the
four.
or even the four. Yeah, to be honest, that might be better for him. But yeah, showed flashes at the end of last year, so should be in for a much bigger year.
Yes. Another guy I have is Trey Kaufman-Renn for Purdue. Was pretty good when he played last year. Believe he was a starter, and no Zach Edey this year, so he will be the go-to guy inside. Obviously not even close to what Edey was, but he should still be fighting for an all-conference spot, in my opinion.
Yeah, I had Trey Kaufman Wren, and then I also had his teammate Camden Heidi. Um, Made a little bit of an impact last year, but then yeah, Gillis on the way out, Edie on the way out. There's space there for him to make a name for himself. There's going to be a handful of guys on the Purdue roster that end up making a jump.
Yes, another guy I had is Kwame Evans Jr. from Oregon. I think a player that should definitely break out. Really athletic, really versatile. Another guy that I think will be squarely in the mix for an all-conference spot.
Yeah, I mean we're on the same page here. I've got Kwame Evans as well. Another part of or another sophomore on that Oregon team that should be due for a big year. And then my final guy was Cohen Carr from Michigan State. Um, Small impact as a freshman, kind of your highlight reel, good athlete, insane dunker. So I'm in on what he can provide, probably at the three for Michigan State.
Yes, another guy I had, Deshaun Harris Smith for Maryland, a guy that played a lot as a freshman, but didn't exactly live up to expectations, especially on the offensive end. But I think that's an area where he can improve. Was really highly regarded coming into last year and still got the minutes. I think he's also going to get the minutes this year, and you would like to think he will see some improvement in year two. And my final guy is Brock Harding for Iowa, a guy I'm pretty high, and I think he should be the point guard of the future for the Hawkeyes. Yeah, and I'm pretty in on Harding going into his sophomore year. But moving to our top 10 transfers, number one, I have Umar Ballo from Arizona to Indiana.
Yep, I've got Ballo top of the list as well.
Second for me is Gray Osibor coming into Washington from Utah State.
Yep, on the same page
We're two
still.
for two. Can we go three for three? Do you have Miles Rice at three?
I got Rice at six. Kobe Johnson, number three for me.
Dad. Kobe Johnson at five. Number four, I have Roddy Gale Jr. Kind of buying him a little bit more than maybe what he did last year would indicate, but I think he might end up being like the go-to guy for Michigan. So I have him at four.
Yeah, I've got Gale at eight. I do like what he brings. Very close, very hard list to make. Talked about all
Mm-hmm.
the talent in this league. I've got Gillespie at four.
All right, I have Gillespie at eight, and then five, I have Kobe Johnson, as I mentioned.
Five, I've got Vlad Golden,
And
following Dusty May from FAU.
yep, I have Golden at six.
And then that's where I have Miles Rice.
All right, number seven, I have Ben Humerkaus, Illinois transfer coming in from Evansville. Super efficient, super effective, should be a elite role player.
Seven, I've got Brandon Angel, coming over from Stanford now at Oregon. So I'm in on what he can provide. I think him and Evans um, are a solid forward duo.
Yes, and number eight is where I have Gillespie.
And then eight, I've got Roddy Gale Jr.
And nine, I have Michi Johnson coming into Ohio State from South Carolina. Previously spent some time at Ohio State. Pretty good score on a South Carolina team that really overachieved. So I put him in at nine.
At nine, I've got his teammate for the year, Aaron Bradshaw, coming over from Kentucky. High potential big man, I believe over 7 feet. So I'm intrigued by what he can bring.
Yes, definitely intriguing prospect with his recruiting pedigree last year. We'll see how that turns out. At number 10, I have Kylan Boswell, incoming Illinois transfer from Arizona. Multiple Arizona transfers on the list for me, but yeah, I think he should be a little bit more consistent than he was last year. And yeah, I think he'll be pretty solid.
Last guy went with Sky Clark for UCLA, coming over from Louisville. I'm kind of taking a swing there. A lot of good names, but I believe he'll be starting for them this year, from what I've seen.
Probably.
I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
guess.
Didn't play for the most winning team last year, at Louisville, but I don't know. I'm intrigued by what he can bring to that backcourt.
Hmm. Yep. Now moving into our conference standings, going from worst to first based off last year, and the worst team by 4 games in the conference last year was Michigan, finishing 3-17 in conference play. I have them at eighth in the conference in year one of the Dusty May era.
I've got Michigan seventh. When are you planning to mix in the newcomers, the Pac-12?
We'll do it after Michigan, I guess. Um,
Okay. Yeah, I just figured I'd check before we forget him. But I've
yes,
got
I would have
Michigan at
forgot them.
seventh.
Yeah, I mean, I think Dusty May really did a good job with the portal, considering, um, I mean, not that there's anyone that like really won back, but I don't know. Considering what he had, I think this is a good portal class and puts him in position to succeed right away.
Yeah, and like we've seen in past years, a couple guys or get recruited to Michigan and don't get admitted. So I think he went 6 for 6 this year on actually getting the guys into the program. So talked about Roddy Gale and Vlad Golden already. Another name I like, Ruben Jones from North Texas. Good defender, can really play 1, 2, or the 3 in the backcourt.
Yes, brings that North Texas defense. Danny Wolf, another transfer brought in from Yale, one of the rare Ivy League undergrads leaving before graduation. But yeah, he really broke out in his sophomore year with the Bulldogs and is very skilled for his size. Michigan will probably be starting 2 7-foot guys with him and Golden. Interested to see how that works out, but I kind of think it'll work, at least offensively.
Yeah, I mean, from what I saw in the exhibition, I don't want to put too much weight on it, but I think Wolf is definitely skilled enough to play the
Hmm.
4. Maybe not quick enough defensively is in the Big Ten, but I guess that's kind of a wait and see. But I do like the ball handling he has. Like he's definitely skilled enough to play it, can get a rebound, start a fast break. So
Yeah, Trey Donaldson, another transfer who should probably find himself in a starting lineup. Pretty solid point guard at Auburn this past season. Nothing really crazy, but between him and Reuben Jones, it should be a solid point guard duo there.
yeah, and then Wolf Golden probably the starting front court, and then you've got a pair of forwards, Will Cheddar coming back. Um, just kind of good energy guy, plays tough, can space the floor. And then Sam Walters in from Alabama, another great floor spacer coming over 3 years of eligibility. I think both of those guys will see a good amount of time when they don't have Wolf and Golden both on the floor.
Yes, Walters can really shoot. Namari Burnett, the other returner, played over 30 minutes a game last year. Should be a solid piece. He's had an interesting college career, but I think
Yeah, I think
he's fine.
continuity, experience, like just yeah, gonna be a solid part of the rotation. Freshman class, obviously talked about LJ Kaysen already. Yeah, very underrated as a recruit, at least from what I saw in his first game. Just I don't know, can score all 3 levels, and yeah, didn't look like a freshman.
Yes. Yes. Very good steal from Dusty May. Had him committed to Florida Atlantic and smartly took him to Michigan with him as he should have because he is going to be very good there. Um, let's see. Also got Justin Pippen, son of Scottie Pippen. And yeah, I do really think Roddy Gale's going to be the best player on this team. I'm buying his stock.
Yeah, I think um yeah, I guess it should be Gale. He should be the number one option offensively, and then I think Golden will translate some numbers over Wolf as well, probably. Both of those two double digits, I would think.
Yes. Now, though, going into the newcomers in the conference, almost forgot about them, but you got me back on the right track. We'll start out with UCLA. Um, they were not very good last year, but in year one of the Big Ten, I have them at fifth in the conference.
I mean, I think you already know where I'm going with this one. If you see my top 100, I've got UCLA to win the Big Ten. So I don't know. My boldest pick of any of the conference winners, but I don't know. I just like the transfer class, especially what they bring in. Kobe Johnson, talked about him already. Tyler Bilodeau, solid four, coming from Oregon State. William Kyle, big from South Dakota State that I really liked. And then you've got a lot of guys in the backcourt that I think can compete for minutes. Um, Dylan Andrews, Sebastian Mack coming back, and then Sky Clark in from Louisville. Dominic Harris, really good shooter from Loyola Marymount. I think he's officially on the roster now. I know he was a bit delayed getting enrolled. And then Trent Perry, 4-star freshman. I think all five of those guys should have a big role.
Yeah, are you buying any Ade Mara stock in year two?
I feel like I kind of have to, like just being bought into the team as a whole. But I would say I like William Kyle better. Um, I don't know. We'll see what Mark can bring. Probably just an added bonus. But
Yeah, we'll see. He was super highly regarded last year, but didn't really do anything. Lazar Stefanovic back to solid piece to average double digits last year. And I think Mick Cronin really does turn this around. Last year was bad, but this year he really relied in the portal, got some solid guys. Eric Daly Jr., a guy we didn't even talk about, and I think he could honestly be a starter on this team depending how things go. So pretty deep. We'll see who becomes that like clear top end guy, but I think this team is going to be much improved.
yeah, I think you mentioned that finding a top guy might be a struggle, but I do like, I don't know, I think there's 7 or 8, maybe 9 like really solid scoring options on this team. Guys
Hmm.
that I could see averaging double figures. Obviously they all won't, but we'll see which way the shots go.
Yes. Next team up, we'll stay inside the city. Going to USC, I have the Trojans at 13th in year one of the Eric Musselman era.
Almost a full switch for me. I've got USC 17th.
That's
So it's I don't know. It's very tight. My top 5 super close. My like bottom 8 is all really close. Going back to my top 100 rankings. So I don't know. Questions with all the transfers coming in. I'll let you kind of take this one, but
yeah, it's they got a lot of transfers, and I'm not sure I really like many of them. I mean, obviously Desmond Claude put up some big numbers at Xavier, but he wasn't really that good in terms of actually impacting winning. St. Thomas, maybe you're buying into him. I mean, I'm not buying into him, but at the same time, we'll see how he translates from Northern Colorado. He couldn't even get on the floor at Loyola Chicago 2 years ago. I do think he's better than that, but at the same time, there are some questions that can arise, especially moving up into power conference level. Josh Cohen, we'll see. I liked him at UMass. Um, but again, we'll see if he can hang in the power conference. Chibuzo Agba, I do like. He is like just a really good catch and shoot guy. Can't really have any problems with that. Terrence Williams, the second, is okay. Clark Slacker, Bryce Pope, two good scorers, two guys that probably aren't high major players. Matt Noling, probably not a high major player. Kevin Patton Jr. I do love though. Um,
yeah, I see the potential with him. Really good athlete, really good defender. Um, yeah,
yeah,
I mean, as a whole, though, kind of as you talked about, it's like the mid-major all-stars type of thing. And I
yeah.
mean, I don't know. There's how many 4, 8, 9 guys to average double figures last season, and They obviously all aren't going to do it this year. I feel like I don't know it's not a roster that like fits the best in my eyes.
Yeah,
A
I
lot of dudes who can score, but
don't really like a lot of these guys, especially at a high major level. The guys I am buying are Patton, and that might be about it, honestly. Again, I love Ogbo, but he's just like a good catch and shoot guy on the wing.
I think Patton long term is probably the guy I'd be most wanting to buy into. I guess athleticism wise, we'll see if he's in college for a full 4 years, but definitely a good guy for Musselman to grab with 3 years left still. Harrison Hornery, lone returner from last year, and then a couple solid freshmen that probably won't see the floor this year. I don't know if you're high on Elohim or Shelley.
Yeah, I guess we'll see if there's any minutes for them.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking too with these 10 guys coming over. But
Yeah. We'll see though. Musk's last season at Arkansas doesn't exactly give some confidence that they'll be better this year. But moving to the next team, Washington. Obviously, we mentioned Danny Sprinkle now to coach here after a pretty underwhelming Mike Hopkins tenure. But I have them right behind USC at 14th in year one.
I've got them right behind USC at 18th. So I don't know. Sorry, Washington fans. I still think you're a top 80 team in the country, but I don't know. It's hard to split hairs in the Big Ten, and I think there's a lot of holes you can poke in this roster.
Yeah, I mean, Osabor's obviously one of the best transfers in the portal. Got like $2 million, which is insane. At least that's what was reported. Um, so huge get there. Really skilled around the rim for his size, and really had a huge breakout last year at Utah State. I really like DJ Davis too, coming over from Butler. Solid, proven high major starting guard. But besides that, there's not a ton I really love on this team. There were some like random takes.
Yeah, I mean DJ Davis, good experienced guy coming in from Butler, obviously Osborne, but then I don't know, like Makai Mason, decent
All
at
right.
Rice, Luis Courtright, I don't know,
Eh.
and then I I don't know, I'm intrigued by what Tyree Iheanacho
I
can
mean, he
bring,
was
but like he
committed to
wasn't.
Wyoming before. That was probably like the level he should be at.
Yeah, I mean that's probably why he'll be back up to the freshman Zoom Diallo, who's another guy strongly considered from our freshman team. But
Yes. Um,
yeah, I don't know. You've got Frank Kepnang or Wilhelm Breidenbach at the five. Can both of those guys stay healthy? Because I think Osibor has to play the four in the Big Ten to really get the most out of him. Otherwise, he's working a
Probably.
lot defensively.
Yeah. Tyler Harris also coming in from Portland. Solid freshman season. Kind of trailed off down end a little bit, but pretty solid overall. Chris Conway from Oakland. Casey Ibekwe in from Oregon State. It's all right, but yeah, we'll see. Danny Sprinkle has overachieved so far though. So
Yeah, I think I would say they're one of my like safer bets to finish in the bottom half, but then again, you've got Sprinkle who's made three straight tournaments, two at Montana State, one at Utah State. So maybe he pulls the rabbit out of his hat again. But yeah, this year I don't know. Yeah, Osibor
yes.
and I'm not sure what else really.
We'll see. Next team, no, five final newcomer to conference Oregon. I have them at third this year.
I've got Oregon finishing second. So I talked about my love for Jackson Shellstead. I don't know if I'll have him as a preseason All American, but it'll be about the closest thing as you can
Yeah,
come if I don't fit him on there.
he is really good. Had a really good freshman season. Should only improve this year. Decent transfer class. TJ Bamba. solid scorer coming over from Villanova. Probably going to be a little bit better now that he's not coached by Kyle Neptune. Brandon Angel, really, really efficient scorer, transferred within the Pac-12 in sense, but now he's in the Big Ten. At
Yeah,
Oregon,
I think
Raheem Moss, solid piece.
yeah, I was just gonna say like I think Bamba and Angel are two of like the most underrated ads out of the portal. We
Mm,
saw what Bamba did at Washington State 2 years ago, and like you said, he was with Kyle Neptune last season. So I don't know how much I can fault him there. And then Angel's just a guy I love coming out of Stanford.
mm-hmm.
I think he fits really well at Oregon. So yeah, I'm all in on both them and UCLA coming over.
Yes. They won't be able to stay healthy though. There's no way.
That's next point on the Oregon notes. Need Kwame Evans Jr. and Nate Biddle to stay healthy up front.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
I think Supreme
yeah,
Cook is
it's
like already hurt. Or he's not like hurt, but he's like not like 100% right now.
I wouldn't doubt it. As soon as you step on the court with the tree, it's like
Yeah.
here.
Didn't they get rid of that
It's
though?
it's like updated. It looks a lot better from like a TV point of view. I don't know. Yeah, you have to look it up,
Yeah.
but yeah,
I'll look into it. Oregon, oh, they usually had a JUCO guy every year. This year, no exception, getting Des Lindsey from Florida Southwestern, and they're usually pretty impactful contributors. The guys they get from JUCO, Jadrian Tracy was their guy last year. He should be in contention for some solid minutes this year as well. And yeah, Biddle, if he's healthy, he's great. Evans, if he's healthy, he's great. Bartholomew is a pretty solid piece as well if he's healthy. We'll see if Mookie Cook can maybe put a full season together, a little sophomore breakout. But yeah, just stay healthy, and I think everything else will take care of themselves if they manage to do that.
yeah. I think Tracy, Bartholomew, Moss, solid support guys. Des Lindsey, you talked about him. I think will be another guy in and around that starting five, maybe slightly off the bench depending where you go at the three. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's a good team, and as long as it stays healthy, it's got really all the potential in the world. It's led by Jackson Shelstead and hopefully Kwame Evans Jr., who are two extremely high potential sophomores. So only room
Yes.
for growth.
Yes. Moving back into the Big Ten teams from last year, going to Rutgers, who finished 7-13 in conference play last year, bringing in the two-star freshmen. I have them sitting in this year at seventh.
I've got Scarlet Knights coming in at eighth, so I guess slightly below you. But yeah, it should be one of the most talked about teams in the entire country this year.
Yeah, Harbor and Bailey are gonna be fun. They're both legit. Bailey can really create his shots. He's gonna take some bad ones, but he's so good you just have to live with the good and the bad.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that in the exhibition against Rutgers. Like
Hmm.
Harper is your consistent guy. Like looks like a very good point guard even as a freshman. And then Bailey had like this big run in the second half, hit like back to back, maybe even three in a row threes. But like, yeah, there was times in the first half where he was kind of chucking. So I think he'll be inconsistent. That's why I went with Harper, but still the undeniable talent is there. And I don't know, they're going to win some games that they probably shouldn't.
Yes. What do you think about this transfer class?
Um, Let me pull it up just so I have all the guys. Okay, right here. Watching in the exhibition, I don't want to put too much weight on it. PJ Hayes played really well. Jordan Durkak was a guy I thought I was gonna like. He didn't really impress me. And then Zach Martini and Tyson Acuff were two guys I weren't really in with to begin, and I think I kind of stayed that way all
Yeah,
off season.
I do really like PJ Hayes, to an extent. It's like a glue guy shooter, but I mean he has good size. He can really shoot it. Decently athletic for like what he does. So I think he's a great piece. Yeah, Durkak was not very good in their exhibition, but he should improve. One guy that was pretty good was Jermichael Davis. With the team last year. played fair amount as a freshman. We'll see if he can develop his offensive game more and become a threat on both sides of the ball. Jeremiah Williams, another returner, was pretty solid last year as well after being eligible later into the season. And then the center is not going to be great.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of the talk all off season.
Yeah.
Agbole coming back, Lathan Somerville as a freshman, and like it really got exposed by Zuby Ejiofor, I thought. Like,
Yes.
so we'll we'll see. I think that's that along with 3-point shooting is probably the biggest question for this team. I do think Hayes solves that problem, but
I
yeah,
I
I don't
mean
just
Hayes, both the freshmen can shoot. Martini can shoot, but they do have some guys that can't.
I mean, yeah, like Davis and Williams coming back, like 20% shooters. So. But yeah, I think Somerville, Agbole, somebody's got to break out, and they've got to break out in November. So
Yeah. Martini probably gonna play a few minutes there, but probably don't want him playing too much at the five. Next team up though is Maryland. Also finished 7-13 in conference play last year. I have them at 10th this year.
yeah, I've got Maryland 10th as well.
I kind of like really liked him, but at the same time, I kind of kept moving him down because I'm a little less sure that they're gonna be good. But like, I do really like the idea of this team.
Yeah, Maryland and then Ohio State were two teams that I kind of just continually found myself getting lower and lower on as the off season went on. Um, Jameer Young, super big loss. Dante Scott, been there for like 5 or 6 years. Another really big loss, just what he brought to the program. So I think, yeah, it'll be an interesting look in the front court with Reese probably being the four. And then you've got Derek Queen, top 10 or top 20 recruit in to play center. So
Yes.
we'll see how that works. I think it could be a very good front court. And then
Yeah.
um,
I mean,
you
yeah,
highlighted Deshaun Harris Smith.
Queen's gonna be good right away. I mean, Reese has been to five, but I think it'll work out even though you're not getting much shooting there. Um, Gillespie obviously as the point guard coming in from Belmont. Really, I'm really in on Gillespie. Obviously, it's hard to replace Shamir Young, but Gillespie can really play both sides of the ball. Was an efficient scoring option, can pass it. Selton Miguel is another guy that kind of revitalized his career last year at South Florida. Guy that can really shoot the ball. And then yeah, we'll see with the DHS breakout. Rodney Rice, another guy, kind of monitor. Um, Maybe we'll see him break out after he didn't play last year, but had some promise in his short time at Virginia Tech. And then I don't know why they took Tafari Gapari or Jalen Young, but if they're buried on your bench, it can't be that much harm.
I mean, Gapari might have to be like the third big
He's like an
because
athlete though. Like he's good
like
defensively. He's just not that good at basketball.
yeah, I think I don't know. You're still probably gonna have to need him. You're gonna have to need him for like 10 minutes a game, maybe,
I think he
maybe
can
only
do
five. But
that.
like, yeah. You talked about Gillespie, Miguel. Gillespie, I like to an ex or like I like, but Jameer Young was so valuable to
Yeah.
this team, so it's like it's going to be hard to really replicate that. Selton Miguel brings much needed 3-point shooting to this team. So I think that's a plus there, provided he stays consistent at the power five level this time around. But yeah, I think I don't I have them 10th, but like I could see them making the NCAA tournament. I don't know if 10th would do it, but
Maybe.
they'd be in the
Yeah.
mix. They'd be in the mix for sure.
Yes. Jordan Geronimo, another solid bench piece, 3-4. Chance Stevens, really good shooter if he's fully healthy from last year after being hurt. We'll see if Malachi Palmer or Braden Pierce can do anything. But like I really like I want to be in this team. I just kind of out on Maryland as a just like Kevin Willard until proven otherwise. He's not like as bad of a coach as some people think, but he's also disappointed a little bit recently. So
Yeah, like I don't know, you saw the hype build for them last offseason and it kind of tanked. So I think
yeah,
this season, like that's where I'm a little bit more hesitant. Yeah, I'd rather get proven
yeah,
wrong. I'd rather get proven wrong than get burned again.
yes. I want to be in this team though, for sure. Next team up though, Minnesota. Your Golden Gophers. I have them at 17th.
I've got Minnesota at 15th. I don't know, probably a little personal bias in there, but I can't have this team not making their own conference tournament, which like I mean, quick side note, how dumb is that that not every team's gonna make the conference tournament this time around? But yeah.
Yeah. What
I
yeah,
mean,
I
add an
guess
extra day, give us more games. So that's my thoughts.
yeah. What are your thoughts? I guess you're the expert here.
Yeah, I mean, one oldest team in the conference, a lot of experienced transfers coming in. I'll get the roster page just so I don't forget anybody real quick, but Dawson Garcia coming back. We both had him as an all league guy, as he should be. 18 and 7 a game last year. And then Mike Mitchell Jr., I think that's a guy who probably won't make an all conference team. Just there's 18 teams in the league, but looked really bright in the exhibitions. Second year transfer came in from Pepperdine last year. Can score from all three levels, can create his own shot, solid defender. I like him. Yeah, like I don't know. I tried to squeeze him in an all conference team. I'm like, yeah, this is going a little too
No.
far. But next to Garcia in the front court, Frank Mitchell went down with an injury in the exhibition last night or the night before. So I don't think it's like super long term, but his arm was in a sling. So I don't know, maybe a month or two. Don't want to speculate too much. I do like basically all the guards coming in. Tyler Cochran from Toledo. He hasn't played yet, been injured, should be back soon. Femi Odukale. I hope I say that right.
I
Another
believe
guy
it's
that's
Odukale, but I don't know if I
Odukale.
like him. I don't know.
Yeah,
Like
that's
the idea of him is kind of better than him.
yeah. I think he ends up being like the eighth guy on this roster because you've got Usai Patterson in from Charlotte. I really like him and Mitchell, 1 and 2, two guys that can handle the ball, take pressure off of each other, both create their own shot. Brendan Rigsby in from Oregon. I do like what I've seen from him. Really good energy guy, can shoot the ball, and yeah, I think I like what he brings. So a bit of a smaller backcourt if you go Mitchell, Patterson, Rigsby, but I do like that. And then obviously Parker Fox back once again. I think year 6 or 7 in college, finally
He's
healthy.
up
Got to
there.
see him play last year, so yeah, just another good energy guy. Will give the Gophers some minutes in the front court. And then Trey Edmonds from UTSA. Not really sure what I think of him.
It's like
Like,
kind of
I
a
don't know. Like,
big in the portal that I guess you take to play like
yeah,
5 minutes
good
a
physical body.
game.
I with Frank Mitchell being injured, Edmonds will probably have to play quite a bit, but yeah, we'll see how it goes from there. Um, Caden Betts, I'm not sure where the minutes will be, but that's a guy that's looked a lot better. And then I like Isaac Asuma for the future. Once all these transfers are out of the way, I still think he plays a decent role this year, but yeah,
Yeah.
definitely a guy for the future.
Is Caleb Williams gonna play at all?
I don't think so. I went to the game against Bemidji State and he played like 3 or 4 minutes in the first half and then at the end of the game. So it's like, I don't know. You could bring him in, maybe hit a couple of threes, but I don't know if physically
Yeah,
he's
he cooked
ready for
Minnesota
the Big
last year
Ten.
though.
Yeah, I mean, we'll forget about that 41 on our heads, but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
We'll see. Yeah. Next up though, Penn State finished 9-11 in conference play last year. I have them in the basement at 18th this year. I guess it's not too bad of a basement though because still in my top 100.
Yeah, I mean, no slight to you, but I think this team's being disrespected as a whole this preseason. I've got them in 14th. Um, they were tied in ninth in the conference last year. They bring back a solid core. The guys that got them there, headlined by Ace Baldwin. I think's top four guard in this conference. Top
Yeah.
five, maybe, depending thoughts on Dylan Harper, Bruce Dorian. But
I mean, I don't think this team is gonna be like that bad, but I don't know anyone that like I see is just like worse than them. Uh, this team is it's probably the worst roster in the conference.
I can I could probably agree with that, but like I don't know. Mike Rose just grinds out games. Like
Yeah,
last
like
year, I would say
they're not gonna get
last year
last,
they were
but like
supposed
I
to
don't know who
too.
to they're not gonna get last, but I don't know who to put behind them right now.
Yeah, that's fair. Freddie DeLeon, coming from Tennessee,
that's kind of the important piece that you need to like be really good if you want to
yeah,
be competitive. Kern and
that's
Hicks,
very intriguing.
returning wings. Um, Hicks is a better shooter than he was last year, I think. And then Kern's really a good athlete, good energy guy. Yannick Coden Niederhauser, good
The
rim
numbers don't
protector.
pop, but I like him. Like,
I see
yeah,
the vision. NIU was weird and sending guys up even though they were terrible. DeMarco Dunn, Puff Johnson, two okay bench pieces. Kajienze, maybe I'm kind of buying. I think he's be a pretty solid energy big. We'll see with Eli Rice and then got to four freshmen. Don't really know what to think about it, but Ace Baldwin's going to win them some games. They're probably not going to be lots, but at the same time, like one of these teams is going to completely implode, and I don't think it'll be Penn State because again, I like Ace as a leader. I like Rhodes as a coach. They'll probably be around like 80th in the country, and somebody will blow up, but it won't be them.
I see where you're going with there. Like, yeah, I think that's kind of why I have them higher. It's like they're a safer team to bet on. I feel like Rhodes, Baldwin, and then yeah, all the other guys back. You've got four or five returning fourth or fifth year guys. And then as much as I like DeLeon, a guy that could break out, and then YKN at the five. I have to be higher on this team than the general public, I feel like.
Yes. Next up, Ohio State, 9 and 11 in conference play as well. I have them 11th this year, but like I kind of still think they're a tournament team, so it's just kind of what where the Big Ten is at.
Yeah, I've got Ohio State ninth. And yeah, the talent is definitely there on this roster, but I mean, we're both somewhat skeptical of Jake Diebler, so I guess
I'm also
we'll see how it all
kind of
turns out. But
skeptical of the 4 and 5 of Sean Stewart and Aaron Bradshaw.
I,
I,
if it doesn't work, then it really doesn't work. But it's like I don't know, two guys brought in by Duke and Kentucky, like the recruiting pedigree is there.
yeah,
Didn't pan out in year one, but
they're just kind of banking on them because if they don't work out, they have no one else really to replace them.
yeah. I like Devin Royal at the five. He showed flashes
At the
last year.
four,
Or
he's
sorry,
not.
at the four. At the four.
Yeah,
At the
yeah.
four. Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do like Royal though. More to five. If I don't know, I don't really like Bradshaw, but the talent is undeniable. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, Thornton. I really don't. I don't know about Michi. I mean, obviously I had him in my top 10 trainer. I think he's pretty solid. Maybe a little overrated. Um, I do like Micah
Yeah.
Parrish for what he is.
I think yeah, Micah Parrish kind of holds that backcourt together defensively.
Yes. Um,
Um, Quest Glover is kind of a wild card. I don't know why he didn't play last year at Kansas State. I
he was
can't
hurt.
remember the scenario. Okay, but yeah, and then I don't know. You leave a team after you don't even play. That kind of like I don't know takes me the wrong way
We'll see.
almost. But
I do kind of like Junie Mobley. He can score.
yeah,
Incoming freshman.
that'll be a freshman to watch. But then again, you've already got if Glover's healthy, you've got three like scoring guards above him, so it's kind of
Yeah.
weird
Is
there.
Glover
But
better than him?
that's also a question to be raised, I guess. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I see how this could like really work out, and I also see how it could go like really down. Like this team has a lower floor than Penn State, I think.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that with
But their
what Ohio
ceiling is
State's
also
done
like
done the last
top
2 years.
20 maybe. Like if it works out. We'll see if it works
Yeah,
out. It could. I'm very skeptical of a lot of things, but also a ton of potential. Next up, Indiana, 10-10 in conference play. I have the Hoosiers at fourth.
I've got Indiana sixth.
Yeah,
So
definitely some clear flaws, especially shooting, but
yeah,
this is a
that was
very talented team.
that
I
was the one
probably
problem
should have
last year.
had Mbako on one of my all conference teams. I kind of think he's going to be really good. Um, I don't like Mike Woodson though. I mean, I don't think anyone really does, but like they were pretty bad last year.
That's kind of like I don't know. I had them floating like second or third in the conference. I might have even had them first in the conference, like going back to April or May. But I just slowly fell away from what this team was. Didn't really address the shooting in the portal. Miles Rice, Kanan Carlisle, like really exciting guards, can score, but it's like I don't know, is Mike Woodson going to get the best out of them? And then the front court is really built weird with Mbako, Renew, and Ballo. Like Cleo Ware could step out, hit a jumper, like athletic enough, but Ballo's kind of like glued in the paint. I feel like so.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Um, I mean, Goody is a shooter. Again, this team is not good shooting whatsoever, but I kind of think some of these guys are like a little bit better than their percentages. Like I think Miles Rice is better than a 27% three-point shooter. I think Galloway's probably better than 26. I think Mbako is going to take a step up. I think Carlisle's a decent shooter, but at the same time, I think they're still not like none of those guys are huge shooters besides Goody, who probably and realistically won't play a whole lot. So,
Yeah, especially the freshman Bryson Tucker, depending on how far along he
yeah.
is development wise. Like Goody's minutes might continue to slip, but I do agree the percentages are a bit misleading, but it's also like those percentages are
Yeah.
so low
But
that
they
I
they
hope it's
still happen
misleading.
too. So like it's not like yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know though. I think it's probably like fringe top 25. A lot of talent. Again, a team, I mean, not as low floor as Penn State, I wouldn't say, but a team with a high ceiling and definitely could go south. We'll
Yeah, I mean
see.
where the Ken Palm dropped to last year. Finished
They finished like
91st. Like
90.
I don't think it's
Yeah.
that bad, but
No, but
I don't know.
we'll see with Mike Woodson. I don't trust him. But next up, Iowa also went 10-10 in conference play. I'm buying Iowa this year. I have him at sixth.
I've got Iowa 11th, which I don't know, maybe sounds a bit harsh, but I know you're big on Iowa and Owen Freeman, so
Yes,
I'll
Owen
let you take
Freeman
it from
is
here, I guess.
really good. He was elite as a freshman, averaged over 10 points a game. Really good on defense, which you don't see a ton from Iowa. But yeah, Freeman can really get done on both ends. You would only anticipate him to grow. And then you got Peyton Sandfort next to him. Really good scorer. Guy that can really shoot the ball. Josh Dix, a guy that kind of broke out to an extent last year, had some big games. Think he's only going to get better. Brock Harding, I obviously like. And we'll just kind of see. I like those four. We'll see what Drew Thelwell kind of gives him another point guard option. We'll see if maybe someone like Seydou Traore starts. Maybe Price Sandfort breaks out. Maybe like Cooper Cook, Laji Nabele, a lot of unproven. I think that's the one knock. Like you don't know what you're getting with the depth, but I
Yeah,
really like the top few pieces. And
I
Fran
think
McCaffrey's
that's
also overhated.
yeah, that's a good point. I mean, even as a Minnesota guy, like I don't know, McCaffrey's done a solid enough job with Iowa
Yes.
in the past.
I think yeah, as someone who doesn't like Iowa, Fran McCaffrey should not be, and I'm not coming from this as a position that I wanted to be the coach because he's not good, but Iowa, like realistically, like what are you gonna do better? Like maybe he hasn't had the best tournament success, but like I don't know like who could realistically like produce better teams year in and year out.
Yeah, and then going back to like the depth. I think that was probably my biggest skepticism of this team because Harding and Dix, I do like them. I think they'll take a step forward. Sanford and Freeman, obviously, you know what you're getting with them and could both even be better this year. But then, like, from there, it's very questionable what's going to come. There's high potential pieces, Price Sanford, Dembele, and then Traore from Manhattan. But, like, I don't know.
Yes. We'll see. I'm kind of buying them. Next up, Michigan State, another 10 and 10 team in conference play, was ranked much higher on KenPom than the other two 10-10 teams. Ended up making a tournament winning game there, and I have the Tom Izzo-led Spartans in ninth this year.
I've got the Spartans finishing fifth. I'm trusting in Izzo and the development. Um, just the two guys brought in from the portal. Frankie Fiddler from Omaha should be a valuable piece, and then
Yeah,
Simon's. I You got thoughts on
we'll
Fiddler?
see with Fiddler. He was like so good at Omaha. Like he was like having gone to a handful of his games in person. He is a real deal. But I'll have to see him produce at the Big Ten level. I feel like a lot of what he did was he was able to get to the rim and either draw contact or score there. He's not exactly the biggest guy. I think it could work, but I could also seeing him maybe be at a physical disadvantage in the conference. He's really skilled, though. I could definitely see a world where it works out. And then yeah, again,
Yeah,
I
so
don't like a lot of. Me like putting him as a tournament team is kind of me like trusting in Izzo.
yeah, I think they're I don't know. I have them fifth, maybe that's closer to where their ceiling is. Like I have them as a top 25 team, but I really think that's what they can be, or that's what they're going to be. Jeremy Fears very promising last year.
Hmm.
Trey Holloman, another year of experience. Does Jaden Akins finally break out for like the third off season in a row? We were kind of asking that. I feel like Cohen Carr talked about him. Xavier Booker talked about him as well. Carson Cooper, Jackson Kohler. I mean, kind of just there to take up minutes in the front court. I do like Jace Richardson, one of the freshmen.
Did you
I
watch
think,
their game versus Northern Michigan?
yeah, in the dome, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Richardson looked good
Yeah,
there.
Richardson was good. I didn't love what I saw from their team. Not that it really matters that much. Akins was terrible. Xavier Booker
Yeah,
was
that
kind of like did some like wow plays and also did some wow that was terrible plays. I think Booker's
yeah,
gonna be good though.
it was like you saw the flashes and like defensively they really shut him down, but like how much of that is just the Big Ten athleticism versus D2, I guess. But I do think the defense for this team will be there as long as you get um Booker to kind of lock in on that side of the thing. He's probably better suited for the four defensively, but
Yeah.
yeah, I trust Izzo. Um, should get this team to the tournament, and I think they'll be in the top 5 to 7 of the conference. Yeah,
Yeah. Moving on. Next team up, Wisconsin finished 11 and 9 in conference play last year. I have the Badgers at 15th this year.
I had Wisconsin lower earlier on in the offseason. I put them up to 13th. just kind of out of respect to Greg Gard because I mean, this
Yeah.
roster really rubs me the wrong way. You've got
I mean,
a
yeah, I will say
transfer
Greg,
class that is
yes.
awful, but
Breakout is
yeah,
a guy that seems to seemingly like always have a high floor, but at the same time, like they basically got nothing in the transfer class. Like Cameron Hunters was good at Central Arkansas. I didn't even play last year. He's been hurt. Central Arkansas is a terrible team. I've heard like Kamari McGee is looking better than him in practice and going to start, which does not exactly inspire confidence because Kamari McGee also isn't that good. We'll see though. We'll see with the development, but I feel like
I
that's not
mean,
exactly what you want to be hearing. Um,
if you
I
think
also
that's
heard,
bad,
yeah,
I'd Nolan Winters
yes.
starting over Xavier Amos at the 4. I'd kind of cut you off there.
I
That's
think
on
there
me,
is like
but
I think there is more intrigue with Winter though. At least like he was a good recruit. He's a rising sophomore. Um, Kamara McGee has like kind of been around and not done much, but
yeah,
Tanjay, if he's healthy, he's okay. Um,
I think Daniel
I
Freitag
yes, that's a
could
name to
play a
watch.
big role in the backcourt. I do like him.
I mean I like the returners. Klesmit's good, Blackwell's good, Crowell's good, but there's only so much here.
And there's no like flash, I feel like. Whereas
No.
a lot of the middle of this Big Ten has like the chance to pop. I don't know. You have to put all your eggs in the Greg Gard basket and just trust that he's gonna will this team to win games.
Yeah. Yeah. Like maybe they have like a solid floor. Like they're not gonna be that bad, but I don't even know. Like the ceiling seems pretty low.
Yeah, like I would yeah, I couldn't get Greg Gard to finish at the bottom of this conference, but like the roster he's dealing with, I can't say it's outside of the bottom 5.
Yeah, it's tough, but we'll see. We'll see. I mean, the three returning starters are good, but
Everything besides that,
yeah,
I'm
it's
skeptical.
yes.
I do like Freitag, high potential
He's
freshman, but
someone. Yeah.
yeah, Amos and Hunter, I think big misses in the portal. Tanjay, I mean, I don't know if he's healthy, but
Yeah. We'll see. Next up, though, Nebraska, or no, Northwestern, actually, before we get to Nebraska. Northwestern, another team I have down there. I have Northwestern 16th.
we've got Northwestern 16th as well.
Boo Booey's not there anymore. That's what I have to say.
Yeah, I I had the no more boo booey. Um,
Barnheiser's good,
the top of
though,
the list.
but
I mean, was there anything before boo booey? Was the one tournament appearance before boo booey, I guess, but
yeah, that would have been before his age.
I guess that was a little while back, 2017. Boo booey hasn't been around that long, but
Yeah, yeah. Um, Ty Berry if healthy is pretty decent. Was hurt the end of last year. Barnheiser's obviously like the main piece, but we'll see how Jalen Leach is in the conference. I don't know. Um, I guess again, there's not a ton that I'm like excited about. Maybe,
yeah,
well, there's more than Wisconsin. Well, I don't know. Chris Collins also probably isn't as good of a coach as Guard, even though he's kind of grown some stock.
I think you put it best there. Like I'd rather trust Guard than Collins. Um, even though there might be a little more on this roster, I think front court's pretty settled. Martinelli, Nicholson,
Yeah,
Hunger, like that's a solid
yeah.
3-man
Fitzmaurice
rotation.
off the bench too. Should play a little bit. But
Well,
again, none of those guys are gonna like pop. They'll just be like what they are.
yeah, and then I think Leach, if this team wants to be any better than 16th, I think Leach has to be really good, and I don't know if I'm in on him entirely, but
Yeah, I
and yeah,
would
he's
kind of
definitely
agree
not
with
Boo
that.
Booey, so
Yeah, we'll see if they get anything out of the freshmen. Northwestern sometimes has like some crazy hits on guys like lower ranked KJ Wyndham. Angelo Ciravino. We'll see if we get anything from them. Um, but yeah, again, Boo Booey's not there. That's kind of their team last
Yeah.
year. So next
And
up,
I
though,
mean,
Nebraska. But yeah.
yeah, I was just gonna say like Langborg out too is a
Hmm.
big miss, like with his shooting, and that's where I think you need one of the freshmen to pop to like be a viable bench piece. Otherwise, this team's I don't know has three guards with Leachberry, Barnheiser, and that's about it right now. So
Yeah. Um, Next up, though, Nebraska, 12-8 in conference play. I also have them taking a step back. I had them at 12th. Rink mass is kind of his lack of rink mass due to injury is keeping me considerably lower on this team if they would have him.
yeah, I've got Nebraska 12th as well, and
I
yeah,
like
Mass he
I
just
really
makes
like
everybody
Bryce
better. I feel
Williams.
like
I really like Bryce Williams. I really like Juwan Gary. Their transfer class is interesting. I like Riley Wooster, he's a solid point guard. Utah kind of fell off a little bit when he was hurt last year, so um, definitely someone I like. Gavin Griffiths, I liked him past tense. He's in a better spot theoretically offensively, so we'll see. If he's not good this year, he's just not good. Braxton Mia is just your solid average big man from the portal. Kind of Andrew Morgan, you can kind of group in that same category. Both good players, but both what they are. Connor Sejan really took a step back last year. Um, the one guy I kind of am buying is Berke Buchtensil. UCLA, I was so in on them last year, and UCLA's international guys really came back to bite me, but I don't want to sell him too soon. Like, he's really skilled, has good size. I want him to
yeah,
be good. I really want him to
and
be good.
there's a window for opportunity, especially with Mast out, um, for Barricades to have like a bounce back year. Esigen,
Hmm.
you talked about him like giant step back, but like basically right away got benched, and then I feel like the confidence was never there. So
Yeah.
maybe that's
I
just
think he was like
new
partially
place,
like banged up too, and then he's just like, yeah,
never broke back in the lineup.
yeah,
Um, I do think Wooster is a really good get, just like pure point guard, shores up that side of things. So this is one team where I think it's just kind of flat, like 12th, like I don't know, maybe a couple spots up, a couple spots down, but I don't think there's like a super high ceiling or a super low floor. Just crediting what Hoiberg's done recently, or I guess just really last year, but
yeah. Yeah, we'll see. Aaron Eulis back. He's playing now. I don't think he's that good. Sam Hoiberg is like actually like kind of good as a walk on. Really good energy guy, but again, yeah, probably a step back from last year. I mean, it's gonna be a step back. I mean, they just lose. I mean, lots of Tominaga, but also, yeah, rink mass. Yeah, we'll see. I could see this team being good, but yeah. Next up, though, Illinois 14-6 in conference play last year. I have the Fighting Illini at second this year.
I've got Illinois finishing fourth.
I will say, I was like really considering having them first, and they showed up at Ole Miss, got absolutely manhandled there. I don't know if you watched that game.
No, I didn't get a chance to.
Well, if you like Illinois, it's a good thing you didn't watch the game. That was a bad defensive game, but I'm still buying this roster. This roster is still growing on me by the day.
Yeah, there's so many guys that like just have room to grow. I feel like um Hummerkaus is the only guy who would be out of eligibility after this year. Obviously, might lose a couple guys to the NBA, but like just a younger team, and I think that shows that they should get better as the year goes on, especially with a handful of freshmen and international guys.
Yeah. But yeah, the freshman class is really good between Jakashinas and Ivisic, international guys, and Will Riley, is going to be an instant impact right away, um, as a reclass freshman. Um, Even Morez Johnson, I think, is a guy that will also make an impact known right away. And then, yeah, you mentioned Humerkaus is kind of the old guy in this team, the only guy that'll be done after this year, but I think he's like a guy you'll look up in like 5 years and he's like the sixth man on the Heat, maybe.
I, d- yeah, I like that prediction, but
Like
yeah,
he does everything you want.
yeah, and good size for a four slash
It's
three.
crazy.
Yeah,
He was like a 12 point per game guy NAI like 2 years ago, and he's like a good Big Ten starter. Um, yeah, and yeah, Boswell, I think he's gonna be better than he was at Arizona last year. Trey White, I like despite being on Louisville. Harry Booth probably still needs a year or two, but he's maybe intriguing. Jake Davis, I kind of like as a role player too. Dre Gibbs-Lawren too, I like. There's a lot I like on this roster, and Brad Underwood, someone I really do like as well.
yeah. I think as a whole, I'm a little lower on the roster. I think it's important for Boswell to take a step forward, be more consistent. Yakashonis, super high potential guy. He's probably what gives this team all that potential um, to make a deeper run to finish top of the conference. But I think overall, placing them in fourth, I think it's more of me trusting Underwood, like lost basically his whole team and what he's done in the Big Ten recently. I have to trust him, even with a group full of new guys, to keep top four. And it's a talented group, so I think it's one that could be peaking in March.
Yes, I fully agree with the peaking in March statement. Well, that team Purdue ran the conference last year, 17-3. No Zach Edey. I still have them in first. It matters, but it's still going to keep them in first in the conference, I think. I think Matt Pater's probably the best coach. Well, right now he's the best coach in the conference. Obviously not better as a career than someone like Tom Izzo, but I mean it's obviously hard to say anything bad against Painter at this very moment. Um,
Yeah, I got the Final Four out of the way last year, so
yes, no one wins the tournament until they do.
yep, that's honestly been one of my favorite sayings, like
Yes.
this whole offseason, really.
Mm-hmm.
Only when it fits for me though. I've got Purdue third, first out of the real Big Ten teams. So
Yes.
yeah, only behind UCLA and
I
Oregon.
mean, Braden Smith is really good. Um, Lawyer is a solid role player. I think kind of buying guys like Colvin, Heidi, TKR to really step up. Maybe something from a freshman as well. Daniel Jacobson, I know he was getting a lot of praise for his I believe he was playing some like for Team USA in some aspect. Jakari
Yeah,
Harris.
I
Um,
think it was like a U19 or something. Jakari Harris, that's a guy I like in the backcourt.
yes. I've heard people like CJ Cox too, so we'll see if he's like the next like steal.
I think Cox had like a crazy amount of threes or looked really good the other night in the exhibition or scrimmage.
Yeah.
I'd have to go back,
I,
but
I just heard some positive reviews from some Purdue fans watching that game. I did not get to watch the game, unfortunately. Um,
yes,
I would have had to pay for it, even though it was free in Nebraska, but I don't quite live in Nebraska right now. But almost.
Big
I,
Ten
I
Plus
could
is
have
one. Big Ten
probably
Plus is one of those purchases I'm like on the border with
it
every year,
wasn't it
especially
wasn't I
non-con.
don't think it was on Big Ten Plus. It was like or
Oh,
maybe it was. I don't know. It was some like Nebraska channel where like if you were in the state you got it free. If not, you had to pay for it.
oh.
Who knows? Painter's gonna make this team good though, and not like this roster is bad either. Braden Smith is a legit star. Um, and yeah,
Yeah,
again, Colvin's a guy I've liked. Heidi, I think did like nothing against Creighton, but I ideally like him. Maybe they'll do something else there if he's not good, but
yeah. Hyman, Coldy, or Colvin, Heidi, uh, TKR. Yeah, three guys that can make a jump this year.
yeah,
Lawyer probably needs to get better too. Braden Smith is gonna be really good. Um, yeah, this team was full of really good shooters last season. The numbers probably will take a slight dip. You're not gonna get as open when Zach Edey's not on the floor, but I still think overall it's a really good shooting team, and that raises the ceiling even more.
yeah. But yeah, anything else in the conference kind of wraps up all of our team reviews.
Um, I think that's about it. Just like once again, it should be a very fun conference to watch. Just all 18 teams going to be really good. I'd I'd be surprised if this wasn't like the top conference for home winning percentage. I think home court will play a big factor. Um, I think that's kind of the reason I liked UCLA and Oregon. Like you've got the teams traveling to you out on the West Coast, kind of throwing them for a bit of a
Yeah, that
loop.
that's gonna
Obviously,
be
it goes the other
fun.
direction too, but
Yeah,
yeah,
we'll see.
I'm
That'll
yeah
be something to monitor. With the big travels across conferences this year. But yeah, it'll be a fun conference. No one really sticks out as like an elite team, but someone's gonna end up there. Like someone is going to end up there. I just don't know who.
yeah. I mean, you're gonna have 20 games on your schedule against like top 75 teams, so yeah, eventually somebody's gonna climb up, but I think it realistically could be anybody in the top half of the conference, probably, if even going even further down, maybe. But
Yes. But yeah, that wraps up our Big Ten preview. Appreciate everyone for listening. Make sure to subscribe to Hoop Scoop Media on YouTube. Make sure to yeah, turn on post notifications so you don't miss anything else. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Twitter/X at Hoop Scoop Media. Make sure to follow Luke at College Hoops Outlet on Instagram, CHO Talks Sports on Twitter. And yeah, we will see you in the next conference preview.